This is a Play Your Way Network presentation. Get the full story at PlayLifeYourWay.com. In a world where comics, movies, games, rumors, and Kardashians come at you 24/7, three champions will rise to defend you from wasting precious time, money, and emojis. BK, Nate, and Derreck will show you how to do it the player way.
Ladies and gentlemen and everyone in between, with all due respect, it is your resident podcast DJ BK helping you understand how to curate your life and media
The player way.
That's exactly right. It feels good. It feels good. Always over here in not quite the hood, more like hood adjacent. And I'm just gonna keep it 100%. And I never do this thing alone. Exactly. And that is the voice of one co-captain named Derreck.
That is me, Mr. Corrupting the System, or doing his best to corrupt the system, at Corrupting the System, on Corrupting the System, Corrupting the System, Corrupting the System.
Yes, and by corrupting the system, he means Instagram corrupting the system, spelled just like you hear it, all together, and corrupting the system with all the vowels taken out on Twitter. But who cares about Twitter these days? It's all popping. If you ain't got an IG, you ain't popping. If you ain't got an IG, you ain't popping. And even NPGPX has an Instagram, and that is the moniker of one co-captain, Nate.
That's me.
That's right.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Damn right. Damn right it's you. And obviously the story of the moment is they shook up the world. They're bad men. Those Philadelphia Eagles. Give it to them, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot believe it. They pulled off the impossible. Everyone thought
they should have never gave you Eagles any money. They should have never gave you Eagles any money.
I mean, we all thought that Superman was in the building. And even in
he was in the building,
bro. And even at halftime, we all were like, he doesn't even get started till the fourth. And then he started revving up in the fourth. And then something happened that I'm going to name the most crucial play in the whole game happened.
It should be in my opinion, there's only one play that is the most crucial.
It is
play.
okay. It's either when one team did that play successfully or when that other team did that same play and didn't do it the right way. It's like the exact same play. It's like this is who's going to win and this is who's going to lose.
I was going to say Zach Ertz's touchdown was the most crucial.
Well, let's just get into it. Let's get into it. So what we're going to do to keep this thing exciting, every other podcast is just going to tell you what you already know. Everybody and their mama's watching this thing. So what we're going to is we're going to give you an exclusive.
The player way.
Exclusive. Exactly. We're going to power you up just a little bit and give you one up on your competition. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to go down and just kind of talk about what were the highlights of the night and talk about those things. And we're going to start with what was the most crucial play of the evening. So, Nate, start with yours because you're about to say it.
I think the most crucial play was Zach Ertz's touchdown, the final touchdown of the game.
Okay.
Honestly, that could have gone either way, but that went in favor of the Eagles, and that kind of sealed the deal. No, I'll stick with that.
Derreck, go ahead.
I agree with Nate. Honestly, when it happened, I was like, he caught that, and then he dove into the end zone. The ground can't cause a fumble. That should be a touchdown for all intents and purposes. So I agree that was very powerful. But me personally, the sack fumble that ended the game, in my opinion. The sack fumble was the end of the game. The hit on Tom Brady, the clear and obvious fumble. There was no way anybody could challenge it, and for that to happen with just that little amount of time left, it crushed Tom Brady. Like, I saw it. He was like, no, I'm supposed to have 2 minutes to win the Super Bowl. Not
yes.
No, he was like, no, this is my drive. This is where I go get my 6th ring. No, not today. The only sack in the game was the most powerful sack in the game.
And when he got him off of there, it was written all over his body language. It was he knew it's not going to happen this year. Oh,
he knew because their defense was not going to be able to get them the ball back in. It was just. At that moment, like, I had a Facebook status. I'm like, everything I've wanted has led to this moment of Tom Brady walking on the field. 2 minutes left, 1 timeout. This is it. And just as I posted it, the sack fumble happened. And I'm like, well, let me go ahead and congratulate the Eagles fans, and let me go ahead and eat this crow. I guess eat this eagle in that one, man. To me, that was the most impactful play.
For me, there was an impactful play in the first half. That was the most
foreshadowing
thing.
Foreshadowing.
Yes. When the Eagles
1 second away.
And forgive me if I say it wrong, but was that considered a flea flicker?
No, in essence I feel like it's a form of like a wildcat fake reverse end around.
Okay. It was like a flea flicker into something else. Play. It was like it was a trick play.
That's all it was.
And what's crazy?
That's cute.
and what was crazy? That was an amazing play. You watched that and you went, the Eagles can do that? Like, this is the second string quarterback? The fact that did that? Holy shit. Like, everybody, I had a Super Bowl party. Everybody was watching that, and we all sat up in our chairs and said, okay, I know that the Patriots are a second half team, but damn. Like, okay,
that was crushing. Right before halftime.
But that wasn't the crucial play. That wasn't even the crucial play. The crucial play for me was when the Patriots tried the exact same play.
Well, they did it before
Tom Brady. They
did it first.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. And Tom Brady didn't do it, and he couldn't do it.
It was foreshadowing. It was because the ball hit his fingertips. It hit his finger.
Yes.
Like, you were this close to catching it, just like you were this close to getting that 6th ring.
If you just hopped like other African American men on your team had done earlier in the game, it would have been fine.
Looks so awkward when he runs. He just looks so awkward. And then for the Eagles to turn around and then say, "Oh, this is how you do that play." By the way, it was like, Oh, by the way, is this what you were trying to do? Is this what you were? Because this is how you do it.
Those two plays were the whole story of who arrived. A team that, I love the story of how Belichick, to motivate his team, said, can you believe the Eagles had the audacity to go ahead and plan their parade routes in Philadelphia? I'm going to read you the whole itinerary, just so you know with this team, the audacity. And the sportscasters talked about how confident is that? This team...
Extremely.
They knew they were going to win. The Eagles knew it, and they were the only people in the world, other than the fans of the Eagles. Those are the only people in the world that knew. The rest of us were like, nah, Superman's got it. It's going to be a boring game. To the fact where even Alex Maldonado didn't even watch the Super Bowl. Okay? I mean, it's crazy. It's these two Super Bowls back-to-back were some of the best football stories ever told.
That's right. Shout out to Chris Long for getting back-to-back Super Bowls with two different teams. I wanted to throw that out there. LeGarrette Blount, too.
Yeah. He's got 3 Super Bowls. Who would have thought?
LeGarrette Blount, the former Buccaneer. LeGarrette Blount has 2. Definitely a little bit of a journeyman, but I really like his style of running. You just don't see that much power in football, and actually all their backs are like that. But when I was watching this game, like I seen the aura. I seen the aura on the field. Not so much the fact that they just marched down there and did it. It's when their defense was not giving up touchdowns. They were giving up missed field goals and field goal attempts versus the Patriots defense, who was just getting.
It was a competitive game.
Yeah,
they were such a complete team. They were such a complete team yesterday. They were exactly what they needed to be for their biggest game.
They held the lead the whole game, except minus briefly I think, in the fourth quarter. Yeah.
Briefly.
So they were in control the whole entire game, and kudos to them. Because everybody and their
sniff
mothers
the lead and be like, "This is
get it
exactly,
get it."
They were underdogs their entire postseason run. Like,
right?
Hey,
3 games, underdogs.
Yeah,
dude. And did you love how the director of this great film even made a nod to Ace Ventura by having Ray Finkel show up? Not knowing how to leave the
laces out
on multiple plays. Jesus Christ!
I was like, how many? I was like, that 4 points is gonna be very needed.
Exactly,
it's gonna be needed. You're all gonna hate. How you? It was just ugly. It was just
the momentum.
Is right.
The momentum just was so interrupted on multiple occasions.
Man,
it's
like every time.
So here's my takeaway from this. Here's what the history books are going to show. It's going to be very similar to the moment when we found out why Iron Mike Tyson was going to have a short career. He did the fundamentals so well that it made it look like he was impenetrable. But what he didn't do a good job of was looking at the unexpected and expecting the unexpected. What I saw in this game was the same Patriots team that almost went undefeated and then lost at the Super Bowl. They fell apart in the Super Bowl.
I very much agree with that. Down to one of my most favorite memes that I've seen of Fred from the Scooby-Doo gang pulling off the Nick Foles mask to reveal that it was actually Eli Manning in that jersey.
Which brings us...
honestly, you're right.
Yes.
Their hubris was ridiculous.
And I'm going to let you finish because this goes to the next section.
Yeah.
The next section we have is the award for best Monday morning meme. So take it away, bro.
Now it was a close contest because the one I just described had Fred from Scooby-Doo pulling off Nick Foles' face mask to reveal that it was actually Eli Manning. Eli, that because he is the Tom Brady, like, hey man, he owns Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, and now Nick Foles can say that he beat Tom Brady, the best ever. But also it's a close argument with the DBZ meme of the spirit bomb of all the NFL teams.
That was my favorite one. My favorite one, as Derreck is alluding to, is you see all of the other football teams, all of the other mascot helmets on all of the people of Earth, giving Goku, which is basically Nick Foles, because I don't know if everybody has seen that, because there's a couple different versions. One is like only half of the actual meme. The full one shows a panel with everybody, all of the other teams, Chicago Bears, the Arizona Cardinals,
Lions, the Cardinals, the Cowboys.
Yeah, putting their hands in the air, giving them the energy. Instead of the eagle being the one, it's actually Nick Foles doing like this, holding spirit bomb. And then at the very bottom panel, it's Majin Buu, but it's actually Tom Brady. And just like Majin Buu had those like gauntlets on his arms, they made fun of the fact that Tom Brady has like that signature sock thing that he wears on his hand. So like on that thing they have on Majin Buu's thing, he has the Patriots logo on it, and he's like, "Oh no, boom!" Yeah, dude, the spirit bomb, dude. It's What about you? What about you, Nate? You got any memes?
It made me chuckle when I saw it this morning on Reddit, but it was the kid during the halftime show that took a selfie with Justin Timberlake. It was side by side next to a Google search with who is Justin Timberlake. Yeah.
That was a good one, dude. Like the whole time while I was happening, I'm like, he didn't have his camera ready. He was just looking at his phone the whole perform. I'm like, I wonder if he even knows who this guy is, because that kid looked like 13, maybe 12 or something like that.
Yeah,
I'm like, you don't realize this is one of the most talented individuals on this planet right now, standing next to you.
You know what I think it was? What I think it actually was.
Today's kids will
never know. He had this bewildered look on his face, and what I think it was is that he was trying to take a selfie with Justin, and he obviously was having issues with his phone, which happens in big arenas like that where you can't get Wi-Fi. So I think what happens, he recorded it probably to like Snapchat or something, but like because the internet wasn't letting him push it, I think he was concerned he was going to lose like the video. So like he was looking super worried, and I think he filmed it even again like after that because Justin was like, "Hurry up, kid, the performance is over."
Yeah, I only have 4 seconds to be here, and I've been here 87 dealing with you trying to fumble with this phone.
Speaking of which, let's go on to the next one. What did y'all think of the halftime performance?
It was okay.
I enjoyed it.
I
like,
mean, honestly, there's all
the
the halftime performances of the last, I don't know, 5-6 years have been okay.
I think Beyonce's was really, really good. And I still think the best one was The Who. When The Who did it, that was, to me, the best next to Michael Jackson. I would say Michael Jackson and then The Who.
I enjoyed Prince's performance. I mean, I know coincidentally, of course, we were in Minnesota and they did a reference to him as well. But just seeing him actually go off on a guitar, because I feel like a lot of people forget how much of a badass guitarist that he was. Like, yes, he had the sex appeal, he had the basketball skills, he has the Charlie Murphy True Hollywood Stories, but that man was a shredder when it came to a guitar. And seeing him do that from behind the curtain, that was a really nice homage to him. But honestly, I feel like they've just, ever since Patriots, Panthers, and Justin Timberlake popping Janet Jackson's titty out, I feel like they just have to be enough, just enough, because we can't go too wild. Like Lady Gaga last year, that was a lot. She did a lot. Well, and I think Katy Perry did a lot of.
Katy Perry was terrible.
Just
with the sharks.
What was it, a big lion or tiger that she was on? Yeah.
It was when she had the sharks was the whole meme the next day when she had the weird dancing sharks. No, but my thing with Justin Timberlake is I actually lost a lot of respect for him in this performance. It was the first time I've seen someone perform and the field looked so much bigger than them. Like it seemed like he was like saving his energy for something else that was going to happen. And the only exciting part. Yeah, and the only exciting part about his performance was the Prince tribute, which that had nothing to do with him. Like seeing that symbol on the ground outside with all the LEDs was goosebumps. I was like, holy crap. That was
incredible. That was it. Yeah. Like I was looking at that, I'm like, I live in a world that can do that. That can do that on cue, and I'm watching it. Like that was incredible. But I had that feeling.
Need Justin Timberlake to perform. I mean, I just felt like I'm not feeling, and it's very similar to where he is in his career right now. His music is just not really hitting on anything right now. He's not as young as he used to be. There's other guys out there like Chris Brown, although he's a wife beater. He's an amazing dancer. I feel like if you're a good guy, you can never be the performer you need to be. Like George Michael, Prince, Michael Jackson, Chris Brown, all of the people who are amazing performers had to go through some bullshit. Like, and it's like, I feel like Justin Timberlake hasn't had his moment really to where he can enter greatness yet. Cause it was just kind of whack. I was like, where is Janet Jackson? Like, he was I feel like he was I don't want to use this phrase because I just felt he was weak sauce. I'm going to just say it that way. He was weak sauce for not having her out there.
I miss, that would have been at least a funny, something. But I miss, like, when they, like, it doesn't have to just be one headliner. Like, I miss when they had, like, sometimes I had some crazy mixes of artists, but I miss when they had, like, if the theme's classic rock, then have a theme of classic rock. Like, if it's Justin Timberlake, then let's put other people that are let's get Jamie Foxx out there because he can play piano, he can sing, he can dance and everything.
Let's get other. You did it at the VMAs. Why couldn't you bring him out this time? Maybe because Joey Fatone has been eating too much Fazul.
Gobble.
He's been eating the gabagool, getting in the gabagool.
But yeah, the halftime.
Don't forget the gravy.
I still have. I know you said. I know you say you kind of lost respect, but I still have my guy crush on Justin Timberlake. He's still funny. He's still a decent actor and everything like that. But I'm not going to discredit him just off a 20-minute performance based off. He's still been doing his thing the past. Pretty much his whole life. So I can't take it all away just based on the Super Bowl performance because I feel like he has a certain level that he can only go up to. Not that he can exceed it, but that they said, hey, you can only do this. Don't be too wild. let's film from the waist up because you can't be moving your hips. Like very antiquated 60s Elvis Presley kind of style. Like he just like, I can only do this. I can only sing on this stage. I can only play just a few power chords on the piano. I guess I'm like, show off, man. Show off. You're like, he's acclaimed for his concerts, and we didn't get a taste of it. You know what I mean? And we had 111 million to watch.
Now you hear what I'm saying. See, you lost a little. See, you got it. You don't want to call it losing respect for him, but you're hitting on the same exact thing I'm saying. For him to have the 2020 experience supposedly is one of the best things. And you got to also remember this. I worked in an arena where the 2020 experience actually happened. So I've seen his stage pieces. I've seen what he can do in an arena. I ain't seen his aura. I seen his iron. His iron.
I didn't see an aura yesterday though.
Yeah, I didn't see it. Like I said, if the field looked real big, I'm like you got a long way to walk, bro. But anyway, that's enough of that. That's enough of that.
You got a long way to walk to some kid who don't know you.
Shout out to Kevin Hart though, man. Kevin Hart, he gets the L of the whole fucking day. Did you see what he did?
Yeah,
I did not. I must have somehow missed it.
Dude, Kevin,
he tried to get up. He tried to get on the stage when they were getting the Lombardi Trophy, but he got turned away by security. I mean, he was drunk. He was very intoxicated. Yeah,
he got pushed. Yeah, basically, he had a moment, because he's from Philly. So, and he and Meek Mill are friends and everything. So he was kind of living out for Meek Mill since Meek Mill couldn't be there. And so he went up to the stage and he pulled one of those, you know who I am, right? The security dude, quote unquote, said, "Mr. Hart, I know exactly who you are, but I'm not going to let you up on the stage."
Not drunk.
He kept
not
trying.
Up in here.
He kept trying, and he said, "Do you play football? No. Are you a part of this organization? No. Then I can't let. Are you a coach? No. Then I can't let you up on this stage." And you saw him on TV getting pushed out the way. It was hilarious. He ended up going on Instagram later on and doing a hashtag, "I should have listened to my wife," hashtag. But to be fair, he's the winner of it all because he made a crap ton of money betting on Philadelphia because they were hardcore underdogs. That was money.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he made some money on that game. So
what happened?
Shout out
what
to
happened
him.
in that game?
Go ahead.
It reminds me back when the Panthers played Peyton. The Panthers, I felt should have won that game because they had a very similar team to how the Eagles did.
Yeah.
But Peyton Manning actually pulled it out. But man, as frustrating as it is for a Cowboy fan to give them respect, I begrudgingly have to.
And these transitions are going so well. As kind of like a tee off, we did do a brief sports rundown yesterday night on Instagram via our stories. Derek and I tag teamed that one. And then the day after, we played a little Monday morning quarterback where Derek on his way to work did an IG post. You can see that at Corrupting the System on Instagram. And he does a great analysis of what it was like to feel this as a Cowboy fan. And I was inspired by that. So I got out my lights and I made a video on what it was like to do it from an Atlanta Falcons fan. So if you're listening to this podcast, if you feel so inclined to say why your team, for example, Nate, it'd be cool to see one from you about why this might have been hard to take as a Packers fan to watch. If you are watching this and you want to participate, just tag at Corrupting the System and or play at Playerway Podcast, and we'll feature you and give you a little shout out. So that's one way to help you understand how to curate your life in media.
The Player Way.
So that was a lot of fun. Thank you for that inspiration, Derek. I saw that and I was like, "Ooh, I gotta give it to him." Man, because Atlanta Falcons, I feel like we feel it worse. I'm gonna let you finish, but Atlanta Falcons had the best team of all time. We were a better team than and the only reason why we lost is because at halftime we thought we won. We literally phoned in the second half of that game. That is the only reason why we lost. And I've been telling people that, and people said, "No, man, it's Tom Brady." Yesterday, Tom Brady proved that he really doesn't start taking football seriously until the fourth quarter. And it's too late because if the team has got their momentum, they gonna shut you down, B.
They sure did.
I mean,
I kept saying, I'm like, Tom Brady doesn't play defense. Tom Brady doesn't play defense, y'all. He doesn't play defense, y'all. And all right, and speaking of defense, man, they really kept Malcolm Butler on the sideline except for special teams play.
Man.
A guy that had the game-winning interception
they
against
never
the Seahawks.
Went into it.
They kept
just
saying
said it was
coach's decision.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, they really kept him. He's an unrestricted free agent. He can come on down here to Dallas. Come on,
That's
come on, Malcolm.
I
Like,
just
that was
can't
nuts.
get my head around the fact that, I mean, literally, we saw a tortoise in the hair race happen.
Dude,
I mean, the hair was like, I'll catch up to him eventually. I'm faster than him. I'll just get started a little bit later. And he waited too late to pull the trigger.
I can't imagine really what this feels like for
was too
you
late.
as an Atlanta fan, because the Patriots weren't even that far behind the Eagles
They really weren't.
at any point in the game. They were never that far behind. They were never 28-3 behind.
That's what I'm
ever.
saying. That's why I know. That's why this hurts, because now I know for a fact we could have beat them if we had just kept playing the game. If we had just kept taking them seriously and not fucking taking the rest, we would have won. We would have won. It was all that strength had nothing to do with it. Tom Brady is a myth. He just proved it.
One of the things how I play Madden is how I feel like a lot of teams forget how to play in the NFL. You keep your foot on the accelerator, and the accelerator is on your opponent's throat. Period. The end. This is a professional sports. Like, don't be griping to me if we beat you 58-3. I don't care. I am here to beat you down. We didn't come here to test out plays and everything like that. I came here to beat you. We got all the way to the Super Bowl to win it. I didn't come here to lose to the Eagles, but you did. You did, because your defense didn't play. The Eagles came to win the Super Bowl. The Patriots came to see Tom Brady get a Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
The Eagles
this
came
ain't
to win the
Pee-wee.
Super Bowl.
This ain't Pop Warner. There is no mercy rule. Okay? If I got to get it up to 60.
And the Eagles had no mercy. Ain't no mercy. Ain't no mercy.
Now, we'll say something. I said something a little bit, and I got to take it back for a second, okay? The record scratch that.
You got to take it back now,
yo. Tom Brady is a myth. Tom Brady's not a myth. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the Russian in Rocky was serious. He was something to be taken seriously. However, the line, you see, he's not a machine. He's just a man.
That was perfect. That was perfect.
That's it. That's exactly what
I'm saying.
Is Tom Brady is not Superman. He is not what we thought he was. Okay?
Oh, he is. He is Superman. It's just the Eagles were doomsday yesterday. They were doomsday. Yes.
They were
doomsday.
Kryptonite.
They did, man.
I don't know
meet
why,
your
but my powers
doomsday.
aren't working. It's their costumes.
Oh, we have troubles here on the rooftop here.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight.
Oh, Clark Kent meeting.
Oh man.
It's a good one, man. I'm sure the people in Philadelphia are having a great hangover all this week. They deserve it, man. They don't deserve it, but they got it. It's just
Nate, we've been talking a lot. What did you think, dude? When did you say, "Oh shit"? Oh no.
Sack fumble.
It had to be earlier than that, though. All of us.
It definitely was. I could even tell you. It was. I texted my friend at 7:06 p.m. yesterday, my Pacific time. So I said, "Wow, I didn't really think the Eagles had a chance," and it was after the sack fumble.
So it was that sack fumble. Okay.
Well,
so it was later.
I thought, honestly, as Derek had said,
Nate, 9:13.
I thought the same thing. Like, well, you know, after the Ertz touchdown, I was thinking, Tom Brady's got 2 minutes.
There's so much time left.
And I think,
I said that.
Yeah,
and so did the newscasters. They said
Derek's right.
You might as well have a month.
Exactly. Fucking Al Michaels. Yeah. But as Derek said, I think
can we talk about those guys for a second? Yeah. They were so biased, like the whole game. I was like, we know who you guys
the
like.
entire world was against the Philadelphia Eagles, minus people from Philly and the players. I mean, on it. I honestly wonder how many people made money betting on the Eagles. It's got. I bet the entire city of Philadelphia's economy just doubled after that game.
There's an influx of cash. Man.
They're gonna get Ben Baller to put like encrust diamonds on the Liberty Bell and then take platinum and put inside the crack of it.
Yeah.
Everybody's tax returns next year are false. Everybody's tax returns next year are false in Philadelphia.
Everybody in Philly is buying a replica of the Rocky statue to put as lawn gnomes.
Yes, they're putting it back at the top
Rocky
of the stairs
anymore. It's going to be Nick Foles, man. I mean, kudos to Nick Foles because he's going to get paid. He goes from being a starting quarterback to a backup to being out of the NFL.
Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, he's going to be paid come March. Yeah.
Nate, you just brought it up, dude. Philly now finally has a hero.
Yeah.
Dude. A real sports hero. They finally have one other than, I can't even think who else they had. Maybe Allen Iverson. Yeah. No.
76ers?
No.
I mean, they've had various people, but no one's ever won them.
His story is great. You're right. His story, outside of Case Keenum winning the Super Bowl this year, which would have been the best sports story pretty much ever. Yeah. Nick Foles stepped in after an ACL, took them right into the playoffs, took them through. Let's see what took them through the Falcons, took them through who else? Falcons, Minnesota, and then boom, took him through Tom Brady. Nick Foles, a quarterback in which Jerry Jones said he wanted to bring to Dallas, but decided to bring Kellen Moore instead.
Nick Foles, a man who quit, who literally tearfully with his wife said, "I'm done with football completely," and then decided, but I'm gonna give it one more chance just to see what might happen.
Yes. Just Thursday, he said when he's done with football, I'm gonna go be a pastor. Dude. Just Thursday, he said that.
Dude.
Nick Foles, go ahead and retire, Nick Foles. You got it, man.
He really needs to retire, Nick Foles.
Now. There ain't nothing else. Really should. You'll never do it again.
He'll never do it again.
Just go ahead, man.
If he doesn't quit now, imagine a 30 for 30 about the fall of Nick Foles. He ends up in a den of prostitutes, getting hooked on heroin. You know, it's like
talking about the time he won the Super Bowl.
He's sitting there in the bar like this. Man, being a Super Bowl MVP, it's a tough racket.
Sold his ring for smack. I'm telling you, dude.
You know who I am. I'm Nick Foles. All right, I beat Tom Brady. I'm one of the two quarterbacks to beat Tom Brady.
And then just when you think you figured the movie out, the guy comes out and says, "This is a Tide commercial." Notice that his shirt is completely clean.
Man.
Because the best...
Great segue.
Because the best commercial of all time, of any Super Bowl, well, not of any, but of this one at least, was Tide. Tide wins it all, dude.
And because they were just fit sporadically throughout the game, too. It wasn't just one commercial. Yeah, next thing you know, you would see fucking Hopper out there. Selling Tide.
It's not a Mr. Clean commercial.
Yeah.
Bro, and look, the strongest one was the Old Spice one.
The
strongest one. When it started coming out of his hand and he was like, "What is this?"
What?
Like you expected.
Get off my horse.
Like you saw you already saw a bottle of Tide.
It was an Old Spice
commercial. But it
commercial.
didn't process that was Tide in his hand until you saw Hopper sitting behind him. And then you looked at his hand again, you're like, "Oh, that's not Old Spice, that is Tide." And then you hear like they went there. Like I was like, "Oh no!" And then they followed up with the Mr. Clean.
The very first one, I laughed. Like when it started out with him driving the car, like the Matthew McConaughey Lincoln commercials, and I was like, "God, did Lincoln get this guy? Like, is he the new McConaughey?" And nope, faked everyone out. Yeah.
Notice the shirt. It's completely clean, man. It was to me. I mean, do y'all think any other company did any better?
No.
Shout out to Purcell, dude. Purcell tried so hard, man.
Oh wait, what?
Man, they tried last year.
How about the Dodge commercial with the Martin Luther King
here's
speech?
The thing. Oh, when the Dodge commercial came on.
Talk about fucking
when
tone
the Dodge
deaf.
commercial came on, I made everybody be quiet just to hear the words of what was being said.
Yes.
But as I'm watching, because I'm like, people need to hear these words. Like,
yes,
the tastelessness of Ram using it to promote a Ram truck and their own brand, be that at the side. But I'm like, man, just to hear those words again, just was like, man, inspiration. There's just nobody like that right now. But just the downside of it being a Ram commercial, I'm like, dude, we're going to see 1 trillion Ram commercials throughout the year. I don't care about car commercials. Like Hyundai outdid them by doing the cancer thing. Be like, actually, here's how you do a tasteful car commercial and try to hit people in the feels. Let's stop people at the airport when you know they'll be annoyed. I don't want to go through a security check and then boom, let me punch you in the feels for owning a Hyundai. Thanks for helping support cancer research. You're going to use Dr. Martin Luther King, civil rights, like the guy that's at the zenith of civil rights. And for what? For what? Yeah. For what? Like,
I think
what,
the grills on the new trucks look nice.
Yeah, right. Hey, man, y'all took a cue from Chevy. Good job, y'all. Way to make it work. I'd rather see Danny DeVito sprouting from an M&M than that commercial again, please.
Okay, now that to me is a close second. I was like, I thought that was going to be the one that won it. That was hilarious. We were just talking about Danny DeVito on the last podcast too, dude. Weren't we talking about Always Sunny?
Oh yeah,
Derreck,
and about how he's had the second, the
I can't wait for the episode. Get the gang wins the Super Bowl. I guarantee you that's going to be on the next season of.
Yes, man. I would have appreciated Doritos Blaze if they didn't show the commercial 4 days before the Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
Yes. Same thing with the conclusion of the Dilly Dilly thing with the Bud Knight.
Yeah.
I was like, I saw this already.
I wasn't surprised. I'm like, well. And besides, all right, I have to say this about the Doritos Blaze. Like, I get that they're doing the fire and ice, but why not get like somebody just as, why not Twister versus Busta Rhymes? Like Missy Elliott versus Busta Rhymes, like that's just cool music. But Peter Dinklage wins that battle, just period, because he was just killing.
And that's the thing. And that's the thing to me.
I know the change of pace, but.
And see, to me, you're hitting on what the problem was with that. They got so close by putting Peter Dinklage in there. They got so close to what they should have done. It should have been Cersei as the fire chick, and then as the ice chick, it should have been Khaleesi, dude. Do the same thing.
And then they could have been like, boom, Game of Thrones 2019.
That would have been lit.
2019. That would have brought everything together. Hey,
nice.
Mountain Dew, Doritos Blaze, and Game of Thrones and HBO. We just fixed your commercial for you. You better give us credit for that.
That's it, man. Y'all need to cut that check, bruh.
You know what I mean? And speaking of, hey, man, but one of my favorite things about Super Bowl is, besides the commercials, is the movies that they drop on us during those commercial breaks.
Bro, you better get that transition. Go ahead and do it the player way.
Hey, man, I'm going to go ahead and say, of course, the second I seen that raptor claw step in, I'm like, I better see it tap. Ka-tap, tap, ka-tap, tap, tap. Yes, and then this little girl terrified in her bed by some genetically modified, I don't know if that's a Utah raptor, I don't know what they're going
now before we go, was that your one? That was your favorite one?
I have mixed feelings because I'm mixed, so I have mixed feelings on this.
Nah, come on, man. You got to pick one, bro.
Then I'll have to do this. They showed too much in Jurassic World. I appreciate them dropping about Cloverfield Paradox then.
Dude, I was so upset about Jurassic World.
Like, I was like, man, well, I'm like it's so much. It's so much. Like,
it's so much. Like when they're in the room with his daughter, and then you don't know if the guy's gonna shoot his daughter or not, and then the raptor comes in and saves the day. I'm like, no.
Wait, like, just leave something to the imagination. You know what I mean?
I did not.
You don't have to wear a bikini all the time. Just wear a nice form-fitting dress.
Was going to suspend the whole issue. Was like, oh, okay, so now when I see his daughter almost get shot, I'm not going to be worried because I know Blue's at some point. Then they had another opportunity to show something at the end of the commercial, and there's Blue again. I'm like, come on, y'all. Stop ruining.
Yeah. And that's really just the trailer culture these days. Like, that's why I'm not watching another Infinity War trailer. I'm leaving it as the only one that I've seen until then. Like, I just can't. Like, even Black Panther did this too. I was like, well, all right, now I know his suit lights up. Now I know they're fighting in this. Now I know he's going to do, like, just, like, it's enough. We're going to go see it. Yeah. We're going to go see it. There was another trailer that was advertising something. I feel like they were in a grain silo and something showed up. I can't remember what the name of the movie is, but I'll research that. Y'all chat about that.
To me,
that trailer was perfect.
My favorite.
As soon as I find it,
my favorite one was the Solo. Even though I hate that stupid logo. That is I hate that logo. It looks like
it's
the
so
Solo
unsatisfying
company logo. Don't do that. Do something different. Just don't. I hate that logo. But Solo commercial was, to me, didn't give away the film, and they did a really good job of showing the one thing that everyone wants to see. The main thing that is attracting people to this film is Donald Glover. Just seeing Donald Glover stand there and look like Lando Calrissian. He didn't even have to say anything. I said, oh, hell yeah. The man looked like a space pimp. I mean, He looked like he was going to the player haters ball, bro.
Space pimp.
I was like, all right.
And as I sip my drink, The Quiet Place was the name of that movie. Just
Nate,
so you know. Do you remember that trailer?
What's your favorite trailer?
It's obvious. I texted you guys last night. It was the best part of the game for me. Mine is Infinity War. In 30 seconds, I think. I mean, yeah, that was a perfect little Super Bowl spot to me.
Yeah, I think I'm not.
It was cool to see Solo.
Direction. I'm not a fan of the CGI choice with Iron Man suit, and we're seeing a little bit of it in Black Panther suit as well. I think the CGI is getting a little cartoony. I don't like what I saw with Iron Man suit, not the battle damage one, because that one looked badass. Because I mean,
this isn't fine. It's not even in its final state. It's going to go through months of pre-production.
This isn't even my final form.
I got you, Nate.
But it is cool that we're finally getting the bleeding edge armor. I mean, that's been something people have been speculating for a long time now. Yeah. We thought we were going to get it in Iron Man 3. Yeah.
But I didn't need to see that he was going to be able to use he was going to be able to use a Doctor Strange attack. I didn't want to see that when he grabs the Doctor Strange attack and like uses it as a shield. I
mean, we don't even know what happened. A lot of people on Reddit were speculating that he got in the way of Strange. Like Strange was trying to do something, but Tony went, attack first like he normally does, and
I don't know. It looked like he grabbed it like a shield, like Cap's shield.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. Yeah. Who knows? Did you watch the full trailer of Solo?
Yeah. So you like that too? You like the Solo trailer as well?
I mean, my expectations are pretty low, so it's cool to see. I'm not like waiting hands and knees like I am Infinity War for it to come out, But it's cool to finally get a first look at it.
Yes. I mean, I just want to see Lando. I mean, that's it. Yeah. I'm just waiting on Lando. That is what's making me buy this film. This
is my problem with the spin-offs is we don't need a spin-off of having another person play an iconic character. The spin-off should be used to branch out the universe into different areas that's what I thought
the several other new characters that we have.
That's why I thought Rogue One was so great is it didn't, other than Vader, but it opened your world to all these new characters and new things like the knights that guarded the Jedi Temple on Jeddah, the Donnie Yen and his boy, stuff like that. Yes. Like I don't really need to see Han Solo's backstory.
I mean,
you put it best because he's a poor smuggler.
Because whatever,
his story is very tragic to me.
Exactly.
And that's all I need to know. He's a terrible smuggler. The best part of his life was becoming like a general of the rebellion. Then in episode 7, we find out he loses it all, becomes another bad smuggler, and gets killed by his son. Like it's a very tragic story.
And especially since Chewie's never had any sort of character development whatsoever, I don't care that I'm going to see him. I mean, we know he helped Yoda. Like that's all we needed to know is that he was on Kashyyyk, and then he ended up with a smuggler.
What was that? Episode 3. Yeah. Episode 3 when we got to see a lot of Wookiees. That's really all we needed, right?
Exactly. Something that Derek talked about is and it kind of is alluding to. So overall, just to cap the Super Bowl portion of the show, great Super Bowl, much better than anticipated, and that's just kind of a lesson to everyone when it comes to entertainment. Is it's great to know that we can still be surprised. Like, it's great to know that things can happen in ways that nobody could ever imagine.
Absolutely. It doesn't make me feel that it's rigged as much. You know what I mean? Like,
and I didn't mention this meme. Okay, this is an honorable mention meme. The meme that has Belichick chasing the referee says, "I want my money back." Have y'all seen that one?
No, but it's perfect,
dude. It's a GIF. Yeah, it's a GIF, and it looks like his mouth syncs up to it perfectly when he says, "I want my money back" to the referee as they're leaving the field. I just love it because it didn't put it past. I wouldn't put it past Belichick to actually have the dude on payroll anyway. Man. Yeah. All right, so to cap that up, the best part of Super Bowl to me is all of the other entertainment things that kind of that latch on to those kinds of ratings, astronomical ratings. I heard that this Super Bowl had the highest ratings of any Super Bowl in the last few years. Especially because last year I heard
I think it had the lowest. It was
this
like
one
8-year low.
dropped to like a 7-year low. This was a 7-year low for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I heard some projections, so I guess those projections didn't turn out. So you saying they had the lowest ratings of any other Super Bowl?
7-year low.
No, not any Super Bowl. Yeah, 7-year low. 111 million.
Gotcha. Wow.
Yeah,
that's bad.
What was the Super Bowl 7 years ago?
Man, so I guess This Is Us couldn't even.
Great
help
question, Nate.
Yeah, so I was one of those people who did stay up for This Is Us. Are you guys? I know Derek. I don't think you watch it.
No, I don't.
And I would doubt Nate would watch it because you're not in the demographic.
No.
I definitely watched it. My wife never stays up. My wife turns into pumpkin at like 9:35, like every night, and that exact time, down to the minute. And
9:35 and 17 seconds.
Exactly. And so, but she stayed up. She battled through it, but we got to see it. Derek, I know you're going to probably be coming here to Atlanta at some point. We got a new show in development called Fill in the Blank Show, The Player Way, that Derek and I are going to be doing when he gets here. We're going to watch some shows. Dragon Ball Super is probably going to be one of those. We'll probably go back and watch the Jiren episode. That was like the one that broke the internet, and talk about why Dragon Ball Super is such a big thing right now. This Is Us for sure. We're probably going to watch a couple of pivotal episodes. The episodes will only be about 5 minutes long, but they will be on our YouTube channel. The Playaway Podcast on YouTube, and it'll be kind of like
subscribe.
It'll be a Mystery Science Theater type of thing. Whenever we can get Nate out here, we'll do it as a trio. But I found a way to film it. It's what Nate has been wanting to do forever, and I found a way to make it happen in my living room with a big television. So it's going down, and it's going to be scrumptious. And Nate, we'll be hitting you up to see if you have any suggestions on that. But that is coming, and we're going to help you understand how to watch the best shows that are trending.
The Player Way.
What's up, Derek?
Do you have the casting couch ready?
Yes, I have it. We're getting it cleaned right now. It's got some stains on it. But we're going to clean that off. That way you have a place to sleep when you come. Pause.
Yes, pause for our furry friends.
But speaking of shows, The Player Way, yes, This Is Us did have their penultimate episode. We've been watching ever since season 1 and 2 on how we knew that the dad died, but we never knew how he died, and we finally found what killed him, and now we understand why things happened the way they did. Guys, especially Derek, you got kids. I'm telling you, if you and your girl get into this show, y'all are going to be like, it is amazing storytelling, actually. It's targeted toward a female audience, obviously. But what's crazy about it is it's got, if you thought Heroes or Lost was really good at watching an episode and then like you find out something happened in episode 1 that affected it and it was the hint was there all along, this is that show. It is the best at it. Literally, people cry every single episode. Like every single, I'm not lying to you, Derek. I strongly recommend it. every episode feels like the season finale. Every episode, even the first episode. Every episode, there's something. They do time skips. Just when you think you know all the characters, they jump 5 years into the future. And, they do things with fat suits where a character's fat at one point and then they're skinny at another point, or they're skinny at one point and they get fatter.
Can I speak to that for 1 second?
Yeah.
That's something that, as you know, continuity is one of my pet peeves in movies, TV shows, and everything. But also another thing that's really bothered me whenever there's time difference, like 10 years before or 10 years later, or any time, and the person still has the exact same style of hair, the exact same short beard that they did 5 years. Even Cloverfield Paradox did this when I watched it last night. I'm like, people change hairstyles, they change everything. So you mentioning that they do that is something that is
you can
just
see
enough.
People gaining weight it's weird. It's like and like I'm one of those people. They haven't even revealed that the fat people are wearing fat suits to the point. Okay, to this point, one of my favorite films of all time is the what is it called? The Prestige.
All about the
where they talk about there's certain magicians who they live their trick so that when they do it on stage, you can't tell what they've been doing. Like the old man who keeps the glass bowl between his legs even when he's not doing the act. Because he appears to be like this old decrepit man, but he's really like a gymnast in real life. Or the fact that, spoiler alert, this character, you think he can teleport, but really he just has a twin brother. And just to keep the secret, he cuts his finger off. And so when he tells his wife throughout the film, she's like, "Do you love me?" "Yes." And she goes, "Well, not today." Like, she knows which brother she's with at a given time, Like, there are moments in this, like, literally there's a fat character. She was on Jimmy Fallon last night. You can tell that she wears the fat suit in real life. You can tell that, like, she's keeping it a secret from the people. Rachel and I were watching this show. We're like, this bitch lost weight, and she's wearing prosthetics in real life just so you can't tell. They got the fat character dude. He grew a beard out, so you can't tell his chin is not a double chin anymore. It's like, oh, they're going to do this shit. They're going to have an episode where it's a time skip and she's going to be skinny. It's crazy, dude. So
that's really cool. That's commitment.
I know This Is Us sounds like a trip to the grocery store to buy your wife some unmentionables during that time of the month, along with some ho-hos and a glass of pink wine. Okay, I get it. You don't want to get the Zinfandel. I get it. You don't want to have to get the Primatine Mist. I get it. You don't want to have to do the stuff. But I'm telling you, if you watch this film, if you watch this show, you might have a moment. I'm not going to say you're going to cry on every episode, but you're going to have at least one moment where you go, "Oh my God, the show is so good." And then you're going to look back and say, "Man, BK, you definitely did it."
The Player Way.
You're going to be happy. So I'm telling you.
I would pay folded money to see Nate get a lump in his throat watching this show. I would pay folded money to see that.
It's a good show, y'all.
But I bet really know what, the way you're describing it, Nate might actually appreciate it because he appreciates real life scenarios in the faux
when a character
realism
dies.
So you know what I mean?
Man, when they kill a character in this show, they kill him bad. They got a character who you watch suffer from cancer, like the whole first and second season, and it's hard to watch. Because you see yourself, they do a real good job of even if you're not like the type of character that is into family stuff, there's a character, you're in the show somewhere. Like you find yourself and somewhere in that show.
That's something we talked about as viewers. That's what we always look for, even if we don't realize what we're looking at. We're looking for a character in whatever we're watching that we can relate to. Even if it's not the complete character, just somebody who has a point of view that I can relate to. And that's what draws people in. That's one of my reasons why Lost is one of my top shows, because there was enough characters where I can be like, I can relate to this guy. I can relate to this guy. I want to see this guy react to this.
Let's use Lost for an example. Perfect example.
All right.
Okay, so every show
Nate,
has
did you ever watch
guy.
Lost?
So in Lost, Hurley was the fat guy, right? Hurley followed the same blueprint for a fat character. You never see him have a romantic relationship. He's always just like somebody's friend. He's just a happy-go-lucky guy, and nothing ever really... Stuff happens to him, but like his bad luck thing was that he had good luck. You know, like when he has good luck, something bad happens. Like that's his thing. But he never really had like a romantic relationship. And in real life, everyone gets an opportunity to have a romantic relationship. The fat chick in this show, like they show, like her problem isn't getting dick. Like her problem isn't getting... She can get it. It's just relationships for a fat person who doesn't have confidence is different than a regular person. So you don't have this weird thing where she's like, I wish I could be with somebody. She gets it. So it's like, okay, it's more realistic. It's like, it's deeper. This is really what fat people go through. This is really why fat people have an issue. And it's not the stupid shit you saw on Saved by the Bell. Like, it's something more serious. So it's really cool. It's so many different things. It deals with, you know, being mixed, having a mixed gender household, and finding identity when you can't relate to one race or another, but yet you're supposed to be both at the same time.
Look at him, Nate, going for trigger phrases.
I'm telling you, dude.
Look at him hitting me with the trigger phrases.
It's so good.
You don't hit me and tell me, there's somebody mixed on here.
I highly recommend it, okay? And speaking of highly recommend... I was worried when I saw the Cloverfield Paradox commercial because I was excited until I saw the Netflix logo animate. And I was like, really? That's where it's going? Which we knew it, but it still looked like it should have been bigger than Netflix. And boy, I'm glad I listened to you guys and watched it because...
Dude. I'm going to say, like, I hit play and... I was excited that this, because it even had a different name before they came up with God Particle, and then finally I think they came with God Particle, and then they did some research, reshoots and everything to actually bring it in, because this was originally just going to be the sci-fi space station movie.
Yeah.
They did the reshoots, they brought it in, they realized, hey, this is something that we can kind of use, and I enjoy movies that give me that Event Horizon, that Pandorum, as Priscilla mentioned last night, that Lost in Space, which how it should be kind of feel, even Cube, even, you know, feelings of like Cube, just that kind of anxiety, Alien, where you're like, man, if this happens, just the stress, the mentality of like being lost in the desert, cool, I might get found in the desert, I might get found in the ocean. The idea of the Earth disappearing, that's absolutely terrifying. How much rations do we have? How much oxygen do we have? Like, I'm freaking out. Like I don't, like, do I have to, like, is this my coffin? This is my coffin. Leave me alone. I'm going to my room. Like, that is terrifying. That is a psychological twist. And I love how they did this. I love how we got to follow along with her better half on what was happening, how we got, like, some backstory, how they sewed it in. They brought in Cloverfield and 10 Cloverfield Lane beautifully in this. The buzz out there, a lot of people aren't really, it seems like they're not really okay with what this is, but I feel like they didn't know what this was supposed to be. The Cloverfield Paradox. Just the fact that they threw in the word paradox in the title.
Okay, before we go into what other people think, Nate, what did you think?
It was okay. It's a pretty generic space monster movie. You know, like someone dies behind an airlock while someone else is looking at them. They have to go out to space for something, to fix something. You know one guy's going to die because they're going to take the hit. And I mean, look, it's okay. I can see why they sold it to Netflix because they probably didn't think it would do well in theaters. And I think that was the right way to go. I mean,
wow.
It definitely was. If they released this in theaters, and I was excited for this. When we talked about movies, we were excited for this.
Yeah, this was one of your most anticipated ones.
But I think if I did pay to watch this in theaters, then I probably would have came out kind of annoyed. Because it's very similar to Life, which I don't know if you watched that last year. But it's really similar to that.
Oh, I didn't see Life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that Derek said Event Horizon. Somebody asked me today, what did I think about the Cloverfield Paradox? And I said, it's like if they had a second chance to do the Event Horizon film. Like, if they had a chance to do it again. And I hear what Nate is saying, because, there were some cliche things that happened. They had a chest burster scene, which I I was like, we've seen that before. Let's not do that. I like that they did,
but then they ended it. That was just that. It was just this, and then you don't have to worry about worms on the ship.
We just didn't need to have them cut into somebody's chest and pull something out. I think it was predictable. We knew something was inside his body. If you've ever seen Aliens, you knew something was inside of him, and you knew it wasn't just the worms. So that
what hinted that toward you? What gave you that?
Because his fucking chest exploded. You saw it. You saw it. You saw his chest explode, and then he fell down. His face exploded later, but you knew something was inside of his body. So when they said cut him open, it was like, oh yeah, I mean, I knew something was inside of him. I was just waiting for it to come out. Now I like that it was an inanimate object.
That is what I really appreciated.
But here's why I'm gonna tell you what I love, because I love the film. But I'm gonna start with what I didn't like, since Nate opened that can of worms. Holla at your boy for the reference.
Very nice.
Exactly. So my qualm was that, like Nate said, there was a lot of cliche things. The person getting stuck. Every time a person goes off alone, something bad is going to happen. So it was predictable. Like the guy who got his arm cut off, you knew the ship wasn't done with him. Like it was coming back. So when he fixed the issue and he was in the room by himself, it was just a matter of time before we knew what was going to happen. I'm really glad that there wasn't some monster on the space station with them. I'm liking that the interdimensional melding is what was the issue was, and that's where I feel like they excelled, because for example, when the woman goes off, the Asian lady, she goes off into the airlock area, and then she's checking out the condensation, and what happens is the ship actually sank in the other dimension. So what happens is the water that was supposed to sink the ship starts flooding into that area. So I love that. But what was random is how the airlock started pulling apart. That was weird to me. I was like,
no. It's because of the water. The water pressure in there was pushing out.
But how could the water pressure be? I don't understand. That was weird to me. I don't understand how the water pressure. That was weird to me. I didn't understand how that worked. The
water pressure. All right, the water filling up in that room
first. I felt like she should have drowned first before that happened.
The water pressure filling up the room is what was pushing against the outer hull of the ship, the weakened outer hull of the ship.
But the outer hull of the ship would be stronger than the door itself, though.
And I get where you're saying with that, but you have to understand, with exactly to your point of the interdimensional travel, the other part of that ship that technically would be there, it would also weaken the ship as well, because the other ship had already gone down.
And here's what I'm getting at. Exactly. Here's what I'm getting at. It's that I don't disagree with you. What they didn't do a good job of, they should have shown the ship crumbling before the water started coming in. Because they did a good job of showing that the ship did crumble in the water. So what should have happened, as soon as she went in there should have been some sort of cracking with that door or something that caused that she knew that door was trapped and she wouldn't be able to get out of there. And that should have been the first urgency. Okay. And so she should have been, I got to get out of here because the wall is cracking. And then the water should have started pouring. What would have been cool is water should have been pouring in from the crack itself. Like water, like where there is no water outside the ship, water should have been coming in.
That would have been pretty trippy.
Yeah,
but I did love. I absolutely loved how she got it. Like the second it touched outer space, it was done.
The savior
that was a true. Yeah. That's what I wanted to happen to Leia. I'm not gonna lie. I wanted that to happen to Leia when she got into outer space.
Which turns out to be kind of a bad. It worked against him because later on there is an airlock issue, and that's not what happened to that person. So they didn't immediately freeze when they got sucked into outer space. So it was weird that in one situation it did.
But they got pulled out, but we didn't have like a zoom in on exactly what happened. But you knew that they got
because in the other scene it was.
Well, what did you want them to happen? Well, because she was surrounded by water. She was surrounded by water.
Vapor, yes, and vapor too. And they said they had an issue with humidity in there too. So there should have been a little nod to that again, where she could have easily, as she got sucked out of,
But she did. She was like, and then she was just frozen solid. And then she was just frozen solid.
Exactly.
But the part that, like you said, they excel at was the interdimensional paradox itself.
Like when the dude lost his arm. That was awesome. When I'm like, because essentially what it was is the ship became
no pain.
Well, what happened is the ship became essentially the ship was the ocean. So like he was reaching it under the water. So it was the ocean that he was reaching into, and you don't get it at first, and you're like, oh, I get it. He's underwater, and his other half was like, it was like his arm became his other version of himself. I thought that was so cool that the arm was like riding stuff. I thought that was so cool. I was like, yes,
that was incredible,
man.
He's like, no, I'm not controlling it because I'm giving you the thing. And he was funny. Like it was well placed humor with him too. I appreciate that. He's a funny actor. To me,
I think it was the best Cloverfield movie we've seen so far.
It was really cool. Now, when was the last time you watched the original? I'll submit that to you. Has it been about 10 years?
I hated the original. I
really liked 10 Cloverfield Lane. That was a lot better than this one.
Cloverfield Lane was good, but the first one, to say the first one was the best one, I got to say the name.
I'm not going to say.
The first one sucked.
I went back and watched it a few months back.
It was amazing that they even made a second one.
I went back and watched
these
the original
movies aren't originally
just to
made
see how it was
to be part of this universe.
Sorry, y'all both.
These are movies that are bought, that were developed to be something else entirely, and they get them later and say, okay, let's retool this to be. Yeah, so I mean, I don't think they'll ever tie it in and make a proper Cloverfield 2 and try to get all the surviving actors from these other movies into some sort of. I think it'll always just be these one-offs.
Which they should be. That same person I was talking about this film with, I said, what I love about Cloverfield movies, all of them, what I like about all of them, is that in real life, if there was a monster flick, if there was the weakness of every monster flick to me is that the character you end up following just so happens to be the one at the center of attention when there's this chaotic monster happening, and they just happen to have all the answers. But in real life, if this happened, you'd have no answers. Like, it would take you decades to find out. If JFK, we still don't know who killed him, and we arrested the motherfucker, how would you even know where this monster came from? How is there some weird Sergey, whatever his name, who says, oh, yes, we know about this. We grew him in a petri dish somewhere, even though all the classified records have been burned. But we know exactly who he is and where he came from. No. Like, you wouldn't know where this thing came from. And you'd be dead before you found out. Because it would wreak havoc.
That was one of the things. That's a great point. That's one of the things that that I appreciated in the Godzilla film that's in the new universe that they have, because like we followed one character, Mr. Quicksilver, but Godzilla didn't specifically have to do with him. Like his dad, Bryan Cranston, had to do with it. But that's one thing that I liked about Godzilla, because you followed him, but he was just a casualty. He was just a bystander in this world of monsters. Just like Cloverfield, like exactly what you said. It was more centered around him. But when I went back and watched it again, I had a different perspective on it, because when I first watched it, I feel like I didn't. Like, I was like, why? I was a little more confused, but of course now we have a couple other movies. But going back and watching it, and just the chaos of it, I think that's really what I appreciate about it. But this thing, I really love how they seasoned it with the other two Cloverfield movies to what, and that's what really kind of brought this together. I only had the feeling of this was obviously supposed to be a different movie and then tied in just because I knew about it. I don't think if people didn't know that this was just going to be a separate film, I don't think they would be like, oh, this is weirdly spliced in there. And then just the ending of it. That was apropos.
That was well done. That was well done. That they would have been better off staying where they were. I did think it was weird that he happened to just know that she would have been better off in space. That didn't make any sense to me. She obviously,
but what?
You would think sense. Her being on Earth would be better. How? How is being trapped on a space station better than being on the Earth?
Because what can we do down here?
They would eventually have to come down anyway once they run out of.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point.
Food.
Exactly.
Yeah, they would,
That's my point. Like, they have limited resources. They got to come down at some point.
Yeah, they do. But what are you coming down here to? You're coming down here to a shitstorm.
It's script service.
Stay up
there
and assess the situation.
In there. That's all it is.
He does know that. He's on the run. His work is destroyed. Cities are destroyed.
What he would have said is, can you tell them to change trajectory? Go to the fucking Japan. Like, go somewhere else. Don't tell him to come there.
He's a human.
That's where he is.
He's freaking out. He's freaking out because he just found out that she was around. He just found out she was jettisoned. So his knee-jerk reaction as a human in that moment would be, no, tell her to stay. He's not going to be like, send her to this one part of the earth that's not being infested with whatever's happening. He wouldn't naturally think that. You and I might have think that in that moment, but he wouldn't. He didn't.
Well, I'm going to tell you what I would think.
He just found out in the same phone call.
I'm going to tell you what I would think in that moment.
You know what I mean?
I know that typically they land in Florida. NASA tends to send you to Florida, Cape Canaveral, all that shit. So, and we know that Cloverfield happened in New York City, so she'd be safe. My thing was like, okay, well, at least she's not coming here. You know, it's like, I wouldn't think to leave her there. Like, the way he said it, it was as he knew she went to another dimension. And if she stayed in the other dimension, she would have been fine. It's like, it's a poor choice of words.
Let her go.
Exactly. It's just, I think that was, it could have been written. I think we deserved a better brand of scripting there. I think he could have said something else.
I think that's also your connoisseur film logic as well.
No, that's
which
that's
is
me
perfectly
watching
fine.
a film and knowing that they just came from another dimension, and then him saying, "Don't come back."
You knowing that.
From
you knowing
where?
He doesn't.
Yes, but the writers know that.
He just thinks she was in a space station.
Yes, but the writers who wrote that knew that. I just sat through a film where she came from another dimension. Let's not make it sound like he knew exactly where she came from.
But he didn't. He just said keep her up there in the state. He wasn't saying stay in the other dimension.
He is a made-up character in a script written by a person who knew what just happened. Okay?
Yeah, but it's not like he said she needs to stay in the other dimension. He said just stay in the ship. He doesn't know at all what happened with the ship. He was clearly saying stay up there on the ship.
His exact words said tell her not to come back.
Not to come back to Earth from the space station that she's at. Like,
but they were trying to be witty. But they were trying to be witty.
You think that
it has a double entendre? That means two things. Like it was just.
There's no way.
Try to be double entendre. They were trying to. Like, well, yeah, obviously he doesn't know, but what he doesn't know is he's telling her to really that she should have stayed in the other dimension. Wouldn't that be cool? Because the audience knows, but he doesn't know.
Nah, like, man, they weren't trying to portray that message.
Yes, they was, dude.
He's saying, "Oh, terrible. Okay, cool, you found her. Oh, they just shot her from the space station." And then he's like, "Tell her to stay there." Obviously, he meant the space station. Like, he didn't know. There's no way that could have even ever implied.
Okay,
that
so then let's go back to that. As Nate so eloquently said, she's got to come back at some point. So he wants her to die in fucking space. I mean, she's gonna die for sure if she stays there.
He probably wants to wait a moment to be like, hey, let's figure out this life before you come down to this shitstorm down here on Earth in this area.
No, she has to come back because they found the mission report. Okay?
December 16! December 16!
That dude went a long way to find a mission report.
I laughed when I saw your status
on that. I can't see beyond Zemo, dude. I was like, oh, get somebody else.
He is... December 16.
Like they even made him like a Russian, possible Russian spy. I was like, come on, y'all. Let's not make him exactly like
German.
Zemo.
Like he was definitely, and he was German in there too, right? They even had his doppelganger being a German spy,
and supposedly had some sort of mission report that they found that had all. It was like. Let's not make it exactly like the Marvel film. Let's give him something else to do. Let's switch him out with somebody else. Anyway.
Oh man.
So all
but
in all,
enjoy
it sounds like we got mixed reviews. We got mixed reviews. Mixed reviews, exactly what is happening out there. Shout out to Nate and Derek. Y'all are definitely helping me do film reviews.
The Player Way.
Mixed reviews.
So now football is over.
It's over, man. We got the combine later this month. We got the draft in May, but
what are we going to do?
But not to worry, right, Nate? In a couple years, we'll definitely have something to keep our attention. when the NFL is no longer.
So I guess we should give a little bit of an XFL update. So Nate I mentioned to you guys earlier this week via text that there was a 30 for 30 documentary that came out in season 4 of ESPN 30 for 30 documentaries, and it was called This Was the XFL, and it was a documentary on the rise and fall of the short 1 year that was the XFL. Did either of you get a chance to see that?
No. Negative, Ghost Rider.
Okay. The most important takeaway from that is had you watched that, you'd have a lot more insight on, and I wish I had saw it before I heard about the XFL coming back, because literally at the end of it, the old president of NBC Sports, who gave him the contract, Vince McMahon the contract, and Vince McMahon, they sit down at a table in the final scene and they shake hands and say they're bringing the XFL back in the documentary. So it was already there. So to Derreck's credit, when he sniffed out that it was going to happen, it was founded. So I just wish he had saw that documentary and was able to say, go watch this before anyone else breaks that news. Because that's where the news came from. If anyone had the rumor, it came from that exact episode. And it's been out for a hot minute. It's pretty recent, but it's been out for a little while. And it's kind of why they went ahead and made the announcement of the XFL, because they knew people would figure it out and they didn't want it to seem soft. But the old president of NBC Sports, who is retired now, he's coming out of retirement. He's using his own money along with Vince McMahon, and they're partnering again. So it's the same two guys, but what they do is they go through all of the reasons as to why the XFL failed, and they do a much better job than just saying he hate me. Like, they actually point out the fact that he hate me is one of the main reasons why it's still even remembered to this day. It's just,
obviously.
And they go to the fact that he's actually the only guy who understood what the whole nickname thing was about. And they talk about this guy whose name was Teabagger, and he almost got to put Teabagger on his jersey because Vince McMahon wasn't paying attention to the nicknames. They brought the nicknames to his desk and said, "Can you please approve these?" And he goes, "Oh, looks good to me." And they said, "Sir, can you please read it again?" And he's like, "I did read it. It sounds good. Is there a problem? Can you read number 16? Teabagger." "Oh, sorry about that." And that sums up what Vince McMahon was doing the first time around. Vince McMahon thought he could just use his persona of Mr. McMahon to convince everybody. And you see interviews where he was a dick, misogynistic, doing things that he can't do. And then they contrast that with what he's doing. And there's a person who ends up sprinkled throughout the documentary, Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is actually one of the people who talks throughout the documentary about how positive it was and how the NFL, to Nate's credit, they talk about how if it wasn't for the XFL, they wouldn't have the XD cams or whatever you call them, the fly cams, and how they wouldn't have the Bubba cam if it was, which is basically the steady cam that they use in the NFL right now, and also putting mics in the helmets. All of these things came from Vince McMahon's version of the XFL. None of those things had been even thought to be done until now. And even down to the fact that they talk about storylines of what a guy did before he came to the Super Bowl. They didn't do that before. That all came from this idea of the XFL. At the very end... Visionary, man. So, okay, so after all of this, you still don't quite get why Jerry Jones... You're like, he's the only major NFL guy that's in here. That's interesting that he's supporting this. In the last scene, they talk about who they could go to for help. And they specifically say, he says, "Aren't you friends with Jerry Jones?" And he goes, "Yes, I am longtime friends with him. It's why he allowed us to do WrestleMania in his stadium." And he goes, "What do you think about him? Do you think he'd be a good partner in this?" And he goes, "Well, I know he believes in the XFL, and if we do it right this way, who knows what may be happening. Maybe we can target NFL owners because rather than leaving only filling a stadium 20% is better than leaving it empty for a Sunday." So it's like, oh shit! Like, they're not just saying this stuff in a documentary. Nate, you're a guy who's done a lot of stuff when it comes to litigation. You know how these people dance around saying things so they can't get sued later. So essentially what we're looking at is a past president of NBC Sports, Vince McMahon, who's been reformed, and he admits on screen that it was his fault it failed in the first place. And then Jerry Jones, as a trifecta to bring this thing forward?
Conspiracy.
Jerry is a dude, and Jerry's a gunslinger when it comes to investments. You know what I mean?
This guy tried to buy way too long.
You knew Nate was about to say. He was waiting on you to say something, Nate.
I really was.
Jerry Jones is a guy that almost bought the San Diego Chargers at age 23. I don't know if either of you guys knew that, but he almost bought the Chargers at age 23.
Man,
it just happened to not work out. But then again, he got his coins together and dropped that 150 in the late 80s for the Cowboys, who are now worth $4.3 billion. Businessman, like he doesn't have to win another Super Bowl. He already won. He already won the Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
This man back when we were at that age, we were more so figuring out the dilemma between look at these titties or count hundreds and fifties. Agree
and get in between.
Or get in between. Like count the dough or get these hoes. Like he's like focusing on the money from day one. Like shout out to Jerry Jones, man. You are doing it
the player way.
So Nate, does that change your opinion of whether or not the XFL is a viable product if you have these forces coming together?
No. I don't give a fuck what you say.
All of that build up in my pocket's none.
Hey, we'll see in a couple years.
High volleyball in Croatia, we have
can't wait.
A very prospering young lady who did a good spike over the net on Tuesday afternoon.
Oh, you want to go overseas, man? Shout out to Big Baller Brand, dude. They are killing it over there right now. Have you heard about that?
I have not.
LeVar Ball. So you know about his sons. He took them out of high school and he took them over there to play basketball in Lithuania.
Oh no, I did not know that.
Yeah, dude, they're over there. Essentially, the two younger Ball brothers are balling out literally as the stars in Lithuania. I saw a game earlier this week online. They are just nobody else in Lithuania can ball. So they are just balling out of control.
They did what we were talking about last week, taking barbecue out of the South and putting it in Idaho. Let me take these two boys.
And because they're doing so much, LeVar Ball got like this lifetime achievement award. They only been over there like a month, and he's looking like the owner of the whole franchise, dude. LeVar Ball is killing it, dude. Never lost. Head on my lightweight.
Oh man.
Hey
man, he's a great promoter
all over the world.
You know what I mean?
Hey,
promoting all over. That's right, promoting the system.
Anyway, anything else for the good of the order for this week, man?
Hey man, I'm gonna be. I started Altered Carbon last night. I'm gonna be watching that throughout this week.
I started episode 1 right before the show.
Probably have a good review of that, and I'd also like to have a. We'll promote another DBS episode, but I wouldn't mind having a good chat about that because they did our boy Vegeta proud this past episode.
Absolutely.
And that's all I'm gonna say about that.
That's what's up. Speaking of proud, you got something going over there loud?
I started Altered Carbon too. Actually, I'll try to finish.
So we'll try to finish that for you guys listening, and we'll get that done next week. Like I said, I started episode 1 right before the show, but there's nothing else to do the order.
It's going to be a struggle to try to finish.
I feel like it too. I
can't help but see him as anybody else but Colonel Rick Flag. I just want him to be like, "This is Katana. She's got my back."
Yes, you know? He's just his acting style. The reason why he was so good in House of Cards is because he didn't really have a lot of lines, and he played a guy who's not supposed to talk much in real life, Secret Service. So, I feel like he has a very clunky acting style. The other thing, too, is Altered Carbon, within the first 15 minutes, I need to understand what the whole show is about. Like, I need to understand what we're trying to accomplish, and already it's kind of confusing. Already. It's just not very straightforward. So we'll get that, but we've gone pretty long this episode, and we're wrapping it up. So, ladies and gentlemen, everyone in between, with all due respect, I have been your resident podcast DJ, BK, helping you understand how to curate your life and media
the player way.
Along with my co-captains, Nate
That's me.
All right. And Derek.
That's me. Corrupting the System. Dato. At Corrupting the System on Instagram. Take out the vowels on Twitter. As we said before, who cares about Twitter? Stay tuned. We got sports rundowns on Sunday nights. We got a YouTube channel that you need to like and subscribe because, man, your most recent challenge was the business. I'm not even going to promote that too much because you are the promoting king.
The last
yes,
dab.
That was the business.
Look at my dab. Yeah. That was it was a strong one, and one that was even it wasn't stronger, but we ended up at the shoot. Did a video shoot this past weekend, and the cast and crew wanted to try out the Mad Dog 357 hot sauce challenge, and because we were on a set of a lower budget film, we had craft services, but we didn't have like milk and ice cream. So this was the first hot sauce challenge I did where when we finished the 3-minute afterburn, there was no bread, no milk, and there was no ice cream. And it hurt like a mother because they challenged me to do a double dab, and like an idiot, I did it. So it's going down. You're going to see it. You're going to see some pain the player way. But that's all we have. Nate, send us off the right way.
Peace out, Rabbit.
See you next week. Thanks for listening to the Player Way podcast. Recorded in a single take from Los Angeles, California, Dallas, Texas, and Atlanta, Georgia, by Nathan Peterson, Derek Lewis, and BK Jackson.
And I'm Darren Marlar, the majestic voice of the Player Way podcast.
Our opening theme is titled Bound by Ricky Remedy, courtesy of Elysian Records. And our closing theme is titled Coconut King Diaries by Xander, spelled Zahnder. You can find this music by both Ricky Remedy and Xander, and many more tracks on SoundCloud. And remember, no matter what choices you make or paths you follow, just make sure you do it
the Player Way.
See you next week.